Welcome to the Green Hat Local SEO Podcast, where Kyle Sabra delivers hard-hitting, actionable tips and strategies to help business owners dominate their local market and crush the competition. Kyle's no-holds-barred approach cuts through the noise of traditional SEO, focusing on battle-tested tactics that deliver real results. He's here to arm you with the tools you need to skyrocket your rankings, generate more leads, and grow your business online. If you're tired of hearing the same old SEO nonsense and want to learn the truth, this is the podcast for you. Get ready to put on your green hats and learn SEO secrets the other guys can't handle. Now, here's your host, Kyle Sabra.
Hi, this is Kyle Sabra from Green Hat Local SEO, and in today's episode, we're talking about SEO Necromancy. That's right, we're talking about how to bring your website or your GBP back from the dead. If you previously had rankings and lost them and don't know why, here is what you do to fix those. So this is something that will happen over the life cycle of just about any website, any GBP, where you will have really great rankings, you'll do a lot of really hard work, and then Google comes around, says, fuck no bitch, slaps you down, and all of a sudden you're off of the map pack, maybe even off of the first page completely of Google Maps, and your website has similarly tanked. And this happens to almost everybody. Now, there are some ways to kind of mitigate this. The biggest way that I see people inoculating themselves against these drops is by building out those brands. And again, listen to my Build Brands Not Bullshit episode from the beginning of January if you want to learn more about doing that. But let's say you didn't listen to the episode, you have no fucking idea what you're doing, and you recently got hit with a Google update and your rankings dropped. Or even if there wasn't a major announced update, but for some reason your rankings still dropped. What a lot of people don't realize is, yes, Google has major core algorithm updates a few times a year. It used to be about once every 6 months, once every 9 months. Now it's about once a quarter. But in between those, there are smaller unannounced changes to where Google will be tinkering around with the algorithm, and you might see your rankings start to fluctuate and then drop. So here is how you get your rankings back from the dead. Here is how you do this. So one, like I said, the best way to prevent this is by building out a brand, building out your social media, building out your website, blogging, getting mentions on in press releases and everything. I'm not going to go through the entire process, so listen to the Build Brands Not Bullshit episode from the beginning of January. But let's say that your rankings have dropped. Well, this is something that happens that I see a lot, and this is my exact process that I go through. One, check and see if there has been a Google update. Go to seroundtable.com, see if there is an announced update on there. Even if there's no announced updates and he still sees, the owner of the website, Barry Schwartz, still sees rumblings and chatter about a minor update, unannounced update, he will still mention it on there. So go ahead and check on there and see what people are talking about. If there most likely was an update, then a few things that you need to do that Google will almost always look at for these updates is on-page content, click-through rate, and links, right? So on-page content. So what Google has really made a big push for since about late 2022 is content quality. You know, once AI started really taking hold, everybody was just pushing out loads and loads and loads of bullshit and low quality content, and Google got real sick and fucking tired of it after a while. So they baked into their algorithm what's called the HCU, or Helpful Content Update, which is now part of the main algorithm. So Google looks at your website to see, are you actually trying to help people, right? Now, I know I'm talking about the website a lot, and that's because the website has a lot to do with your GBP. So if you are just copying and pasting ChatGPT bullshit on there, or if you suspect that your SEO agency is, or whoever the fuck you hired off of Fiverr or Legit or whatever, that's the first place that I would look is your content actually written to help people? There is still, for some reason, this habit among business owners to just write 500 words, 600 words on on a blog post. And I see legit nationwide 7-figure SEO agencies doing this too, to where one of their deliverables they'll promise is a 600-word blog post. That's not going to cut it anymore. You need to write long-form content that's actually trying to help people. And not just that, you need to use an on-page SEO software. Just asking ChatGPT to find the keywords for you and insert the keywords in the content is not enough. It pisses me off when people do that. It pisses me off when I see YouTubers talk about this, because it doesn't do shit. These keywords that ChatGPT are pulling are keywords that it has hallucinated. It's completely made up. It has no basis in reality, and it is absolutely not what Google is looking for. So use a software like Cora, C-O-R-A. Use a software like Page Optimizer Pro. If you have to, use something like Neuron Writer. Don't use Surfer. That's probably the worst one of the bunch. But these are super easy to use. They have their own AI writers built in that actually, or Page Optimizer Pro does, that will actually write the content for you with the keywords that Google is actually looking for, not the keywords that ChatGPT hallucinates. And, this is 2025, and if you're still asking ChatGPT to find keywords for you and find quadgrams, put them into a blog post and write a 5-word blog post for you, then you get everything that's fucking coming to you, right? So make sure that you have your content on there that is actually trying to help people. And also make sure you're writing content that matters. Make a separate page for each service that you offer, right? So one thing that happens sometimes is somebody will just list all the services on one page. They'll create a page called services, list all their services on there, and they'll rank okay because it's a lower population area, or maybe Google was just in a good mood that day. But then 6 months later, 4 months later, when there's an update, their site gets hammered, and all of a sudden the GBP goes from ranking, number 3, number 4, whatever, to like number 15, number 20, right? And it's because they weren't writing helpful content. If you try to put too many keywords on one page, that's not very helpful for fucking anybody, right? So make sure that you're writing helpful content. Make sure that you have a page for each service on your website. Also, with another thing that you can do too is if you think your content is already pretty good, then sometimes you need to go back and re-optimize it. So even if you've written something with Page Optimizer Pro, 6 months later, 9 months later, the algorithm might change, right? The landscape for that keyword might have changed, and you might need to go back and re-optimize it, which is as simple as going back, running a report again, whether it's through Page Optimizer Pro or Cora, and then inputting the necessary fixes on there, right? So another thing too that we see is click-through rate. So if you go to your Google Search Console and all of a sudden, your impressions go way up, and then your average ranking goes way down, that's a really bad sign. That means Google is A/B testing you. Oftentimes you see this too, your CTR, your click-through rate, is going to go way down for these keywords as well. And basically what this means is Google doesn't really know what to do with your site. It doesn't really trust your brand maybe. Maybe your content quality is just barely relevant, and then Google's like, okay, fuck it, I need more data. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to put this in front of fucking everybody. We're going to see what everybody does with this, and then probably 7 times out of 10, when you see your site get A/B tests like this, it's bad fucking news, because that means your content probably isn't where it needs to be, and you're going to get dropped. And you often see this with big core algorithm updates to where all of a sudden, say on March 15th, your impressions skyrocket and your average ranking goes down for a certain number of pages, right? Whether it's your blog posts, your service pages, whatever. And it's going to stay like that for about 28 days, and then you're going to see your rankings all of a sudden stay at that lower level, and your impressions go way down, because Google, more often than not, only A/B test pages it doesn't think deserve their current ranking. And when that happens, it happens to your GBP as well. You can see this with your GBP if you're looking at your heat maps, to where all of a sudden your yellows and greens will go all green for like a 5-mile radius, 7-mile radius, and then they go back to yellow, orange, or red. Because Google's doing the same thing. Google is A/B testing your GBP to see how it performs. So what's happening is Google is putting it in front of a much wider audience to see what kinds of clicks it's getting, to see what kind of interactions people are interacting with it, if they're clicking on it, if they're clicking the call, if they're clicking to go to your website for directions, things like that. And if it fails this test, if it doesn't get the CTR that's expected at that ranking level, or if it gets lower CTR than the competitors, then you get fucked and you get dropped all the way down to, like I said, spot 10 or 15 usually around spot 15 for your GBP, and for your website it could be spot 20 or lower. The other thing too is links. So about once a year Google will go through and do a link spam cleanup. So if you bought shitty links, if you don't really know what you're doing and you buy links off of Fiverr or whatever, and you get exact match keyword anchor text going to just one page, you're going to get fucked. There's absolutely nothing wrong with using GSA or SEO Neo. In fact, we use SEO Neo pretty heavily in our agency, but you have to use it in a smart way. And if you shoot all your links to one page, or if you only use an exact match anchor text to your website, then Google knows that's unnatural and you're going to get a demotion. Google's not going to come in here and give you a 50 spot demotion and drop you to spot 50 or spot 20 for your GBP, but it will just cut off all the ranking power for your links, and then it's as if you had no links at all. Then you'll flow back down to a more natural ranking position, which usually for your GBP is 15 or 20, or for your website could be spot 20 or spot 30. So if that is the case, if you see it's a link spam penalty on SEO Roundtable or Search Engine Journal, anything like that, then you know that you have to spend a lot of time cleaning up your links. And now you have to spend money on links. Now you have to go and get those good guest posts. You have to go and get those good niche edits and things like that. And fact of the matter is that you're going to have to probably spend 4 figures to get your link profile back to where Google wants it. So if your GBP or your website has all of a sudden lost rankings, this is how you get those rankings back. If it's an on-page issue, then you have to go through, use a program like Cora or Page Optimizer Pro to rewrite and re-optimize your content. If it is a link spam penalty, you're fucked. No 2 ways around it. You got to start spending $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 to get your links back to where they need. And sometimes for GBP too, Google will shrink the radius of a certain batch of keywords. So where you were ranking 7 miles away, maybe now you're ranking 5 miles away, or maybe now you're ranking 3 miles away, which sucks in the short term, but it is still, because you were ranking out there before, it is still possible to get those rankings back. You just need to work twice as hard to get those, which means firing up Agency Assassin and getting some CTR over to your site, doing some more links with SEO Neo, maybe doing some more brand building and getting some more brand clicks and brand searches in Google from those specific areas, and getting some more driving directions from those areas. If you did it once, you can do it again. There's no reason you can't. You just have to be smart about it. So that's about it for this episode of Green Hat Local SEO. My name is Kyle Sabra. If you want to learn more about SEO, or if you just are sick and fucking tired of doing this yourself, then contact us atghls.io. We offer free until you rank SEO, so you won't pay a dime until you get the rankings you need. Or if you want to learn more about SEO so you can do it yourself, check out our testing group. It's called Rank Advantage Phoenix. We do this with Moon Hussein from Local SEO Phoenix. And this is where we actually go through all of our tests and show you what's working, what's not, and why it's working or why it's not. Again, my name is Kyle Sprock from Green Hat Local SEO, and I will talk to you later.